If you retired in 1990 with $1 million, you were set for life. But today, the same million has the buying power of about $450,000. And with people living longer than ever, $1 million just doesn't stretch it like it used to. So the question isn't, did you save enough? It's, how do you turn what you've saved into a paycheck that lasts? If you care about protecting your savings and creating a steady retirement income, go ahead and subscribe by clicking the button below, because every week we break down practical ways to make your money last. All right, let's jump in. $1 million sounds like a lot, and it is. But over a 25 or 30-year retirement, inflation could slowly chip away at its value. At 3% inflation, prices double nearly every 24 years. That means the cup of coffee that costs $5 today will cost about $10 later in retirement. That's why the focus has to shift from simply having $1 million to knowing how to use that $1 million to create a dependable, inflation-adjusted paycheck. Now here's the reality check. Let's look at what your million can safely provide. If we look at the traditional 4% rule, at a 4% withdrawal rate, you'll be able to withdraw $40,000 a year with $1 million. At 3% inflation, you'd need $97,000 a year 30 years from now to buy the same things. Now, granted, your lifestyle, your life might be a little different when you're a little bit older, but let's keep things in perspective. And the average 65-year-old couple has a 50% chance that one spouse will live to age 90. So your money might not need to last 30 or even 40 years, but you still have to cover the taxes. You still have to cover healthcare and lifestyle costs. That's why you need a real strategy, a retirement paycheck plan that turns your savings into income for life. Now, the retirement paycheck concept, when you were working, your employer paid you regularly. You didn't worry about where the money came from. It just arrived every 2 weeks. Retirement flips that script. Now, you are the employer when it comes to retirement. You now have to pay yourself, and you have to build a system that pays you reliably every month through any market condition. That's what this video is about, turning your savings into a personal inflation-proof paycheck. So here's what we'll cover. We're going to break it all down for you. Step 1, we're going to help you calculate your true retirement income target, calculate how to choose the right withdrawal strategy. 3, we'll go into how to build multiple income streams. 4, how to protect your paycheck from inflation, longevity, and taxes. Step 5, we'll look at real-life examples of turning $1.2 million into lifetime income. And lastly, we'll look at the mindset that lets you enjoy your retirement without money stress. And stick around for a bonus tip that can add $5,000 to $15,000 a year in after-tax income just by changing which accounts you draw from first. Step 1, know your number. Before you can create a paycheck, you need to know how big it has to be. Start by listing your total annual expenses: housing, healthcare, groceries, transportation, travel, and fun. Let's say it adds up to $80,000 a year. Now subtract guaranteed income, Social Security, your pension, or any rental income you might have. Maybe that totals $25,000 a year, which would be pretty small. But that would then mean that leaves $55,000 a year that your savings needs to produce. That's your retirement paycheck target. When you break it down monthly, that's about $4,600 a month after tax. Once you know that number, you can plan confidently. You're not guessing. You're now designing your income strategy. Step 2, choose your withdrawal strategy. There isn't a one perfect formula, but here are 3 approaches that work. One is what's heard across the board, the 4% rule. You withdraw 4% in year 1 and increase it with inflation each year. Historically, that's worked about 90% of the time for a 30-year retirement. Today, with market volatility, some retirees start closer to 3.5% for safety. Number 2 is the bucket strategy. Split your money into 3 time buckets: short-term, 0 to 3 years of expenses in cash or short-term bonds. Mid-term bucket, 4 to 10 years in moderate risk investments, and long-term bucket, 10 years or more in stocks that have higher growth. As your short-term bucket empties, you refill it from the growth profits in good years. That way you never have to sell investments during a market drop. The third strategy is the income floor strategy. Cover essential expenses with guaranteed income. You can use annuities or pensions or bond lenders for the floor. Your discretionary spending comes from your investment portfolio. The result here is now peace of mind. Your necessities are paid no matter what happens in the markets. Step 3, build multiple income streams. Relying on one income source is like balancing on one leg. You can do it, but it's not always stable. Diversify your income. When it comes to Social Security, you could be delaying benefits until age 70. Now, if you delay till age 70, it boosts your monthly check by roughly 32%. Another way you can diversify your income is potentially using annuities. Allocate a portion of savings to a lifetime income product, essentially your own pension. You can look at dividends and interest. Hold high quality dividend paying stocks or bonds for steady cash flow. You could look at real estate or real estate investment trusts. But you have to be really careful here because some of these have really shiny objects, but they can get you stuck in these things. So you gotta be careful here. So you could look at rental income or real estate funds that provide another layer of stability. There's also the chance of part-time work or consulting. Now, typically, when we see people work in retirement, it's because they're bored and they really aren't trying to use it to help float the income. But sometimes you might have to. And a few days a month doing what you love can fund travel or hobbies without touching your savings. The more income streams you build, the stronger your paycheck becomes. Step 4, protect your paycheck. Your biggest enemies are inflation, longevity, and taxes. Inflation at 3% per year, your expenses double every 24 years. Combat that with keeping part of your portfolio in growth assets. You can combat that by keeping part of your portfolio in growth assets, such as stocks, treasury inflation protected securities, or dividend ETFs. Longevity, half of today's retirees will live past age 85. A quarter of those will live past 90. That's wonderful, but your income has to last as long as you do. Guaranteeing part of your income protects against running out later. And then we have taxes. Now this is the big one because withdrawals from IRAs are taxed as ordinary income. That can bump you into higher brackets in the future and potentially increase your Medicare premiums. Coordinating where you take money from, taxable, tax-deferred, or Roth accounts can dramatically increase what you keep. Now let's talk about a real-life example. A couple retires at age 60 with $1.2 million between IRAs, Roth, and their brokerage accounts. They want $75,000 a year after tax. Here's how their retirement paycheck plan might look. First, build their income floor. So set aside $500,000 in a mix of fixed index annuities, a bond ladder, or some other fixed income vehicle that produces about $30,000 a year for life. And then you can add in Social Security, which will add in another $25,000 a year. Now, these are all just estimated numbers, so please keep in mind that these numbers can fluctuate given the interest rate environment, especially for the fixed income vehicle. When we take the Social Security, we add in the $25,000. Now we have $55,000 of total guaranteed income. Now they only need $20,000 more from their investments. So using the remaining $700,000, that's going to stay invested for growth. A 4% withdrawal adds an additional $28,000 a year, leaving a cushion for inflation and extras. Their essential costs are covered. They can travel, spoil the grandkids, and relax. That's a retirement paycheck at work. All right, so let's talk about the mindset shift. And this is the emotional side of retirement planning. And it's something that, as a financial planner, it doesn't often get talked about because financial planners like to talk about the numbers. But being a financial planner, I also know there's the emotional side. And those are the two things that we're trying to get to work together. We're trying to get your emotions to work with the financial numbers. So when we think about it, you've spent decades saving, and now it's time to use what you built. That can feel strange. Many people worry about spending down their nest egg. But remember, you didn't save to hoard money. You saved to buy freedom. When your income plan is in place, you can enjoy a life without second guessing every expense. The markets will move up and down. Your paycheck shouldn't. That's the power of structure and planning. Now, I want to give you a quick bonus, and that's tax-efficient withdrawals. Let's talk about one of the simplest ways to boost income, withdrawal sequencing. Most retirees take money from their IRAs first. That could trigger higher taxes. and can make Social Security up to 85% taxable. Instead, start with taxable brokerage accounts first, where long-term gains are taxed at lower rates. Then, in your early 60s, before required minimum distributions start, try to convert small portions of your IRA into a Roth IRA. You pay the tax now at lower rates and create a pool of future tax-free income. Later, you can pull from the Roth without raising your tax bracket or Medicare premiums. And over time, that can add $5,000 to $15,000 per year in extra spendable income. No additional risk required. Now, a lot of times this is hard because you've looked at your after-tax money that's sitting in the brokerage account as a savings that you just won't touch. But it's a lot easier to touch the IRAs for whatever reason. So it's something that we have to work with the emotions and the financials. We need those to come together. Now, here are some common mistakes to avoid. There are some traps that can wreck a good plan. Mistake number one is withdrawing too much too soon. So you could stay near the 4% or less. Maybe you can go a little higher if you can find some other vehicles that give you a good fixed income or good dividends and interest. Mistake number two, ignoring taxes and inflation. They're invisible, but they are relentless. Mistake number three, failing to adjust after market drops. A cash buffer or bucket system helps keep you from selling at the bottom. Mistake number four, investing too conservatively. You still need growth to beat that inflation. Mistake number five, never reviewing your plan. So you do need to check your plan often. Check it yearly, update, rebalance, and refine. Mistake six, well, some of us like to do this on our own, but it could be one of the biggest mistakes. Coordinating your income, investments, and taxes takes expertise. Try to get expert help or professional help if needed. So to wrap it up, here's the big picture. If you've saved $1 million or more, you're in great shape, but without a strategy, it won't last as long as you do. Know your numbers, pick a withdrawal method that fits your risk tolerance, diversify your income sources, defend against inflation, longevity, and taxes, and 5, review and adjust each year. A retirement paycheck isn't just about income, it's peace of mind. It lets you focus on life, not the market ticker. If this helped you, tap like so more people can see it, and don't forget to subscribe for more weekly videos on retirement income, tax smart strategies, and practical ways to make your money last. Lastly, if you want some help with this, you can click on our link below in the description to book some time with us. Thanks for watching, and here's to creating a retirement paycheck that works as hard as you.